this the new bamboo I'm writing, because we are not doing anything new in bamboo, but we are actually should have been the renewed bamboo for that matter. And simple buildings, I think I will come to why I'm calling it a simple building actually. Just a moment. Okay. So, why bamboo? I think it was explained in the last presentation very well as to why we should be using bamboo. But I will look at some other aspects in there which actually has dictated my interest in bamboo. And as you can see, these slides which go on about global warming, I didn't want to go in detail, but I just wanted to just show that everyone that has been talking about, and there are many people who have been talking for a long time in the bamboo building sector, but why still there are so many problems that we have. There are some issues, this is actually part of a survey which I will also share later, which we did in 2018 19, a global survey on this problem as to why it is not getting mainstream and why. And I had presented a paper on the same thing in 2015 at the World Bamboo Congress in South Korea, in Damyang. So what we found was that everyone talks about like telling that bamboo is one of the eco-friendly materials. That's why we should be using it, and that's why we are doing all the research. And the researchers also have done a lot of research. Actually, it has happened. But when it comes to actual applications in the field, there's a lot of gap between what is all the research that has been done and the practical applications and testing of it in the field actually is also, there's a lot of gap. That is one thing. For me, bamboo actually presented a because one-fifth of the world population lives in bamboo houses even today, even without much of interventions that has reached the sector. And about approximately one-third of the world lives in mud houses. These are two materials which are like available almost everywhere. Around we go. Not everywhere, I would say. I mean, in the tropics where bamboo is actually found and grows very well. So when we see in that scenario, these things are available there. And there only we have the housing deficit. There only we have all the disasters. And there we have all the bamboo. So for me, it was like a call that these areas are rich in bamboo, and there lies all the problem. In the future, also most of the construction is going to happen in this part of the world, which is India and China, and I think basically now they're telling India. So, and we are the second largest producer of the world. So, how do we connect the dots in such a way that we actually move forward? And for me, that was the calling. That was one. And then, of course, the global warming that we have, that because of which last 2 years we have been literally, the whole world has come to a grinding halt, and how things are there. But the two connection is something which is missed at most of the times, and that is why most of the mainstreaming of the bamboo, which people like organization like CBRI and architects across the world, including me, and many others, many people are trying to do, is not really having a lot of effect. For me, also, it was because I do believe that building systems take a lot of time to actually crystallize and also get accepted by people. So bamboo being a traditional materials, and at the same time, we also have a lot of people who have been working on bamboo, since time immemorial, and they have that in their DNA, in their genes, because they know how to work with bamboo. We really don't need to do too much of effort in trying to get the execution people, slightly trained or tweaked to do the new kind of systems that we are trying to. I wouldn't say again renew, and I wouldn't say new. I would say renew, or like revisited and then improved upon from the traditional systems, which actually has come down the down the line when there was not much of communication and transportation, so people had local materials to work with, so they bettered it in the best way possible to work with it and live comfortably at the same time. So that was something which is very, and these are some of the pictures that I'm showing. In India itself, you can see there are variety of housing systems that has been developed traditionally, and that actually, I think there is some problem with the, I will, it is self-advancing. So these systems that we see, they are absolutely like the natural materials. You can't have one system we develop somewhere and then we say that one solution fits all. And the global warming actually that we have is also part of that issue, because we think just like steel and concrete, which you manufacture in one factory, and then you go across the world and it will behave the same way. Even in that case, when it is completely processed in the factory, we know that concrete, cement, and steel can behave very differently because of the way the climate conditions are. So when we talk about natural building materials, it is even more important to actually go for localized solutions for different climate zones and things like that. So that is another factor which actually needs to be kept in mind when we are working with bamboo, and especially when the research is happening. So different climatic zones will have different effects on all this. That is something which also needs to be taken care. If you see in our country, bamboo is not used, all bamboo buildings, especially in most of the part of the country, even across the world. There are very few places where all bamboo buildings are built and people live in them. That's more like northeast, some parts, and then we have this, maybe some part of Kerala in our case. But in most part, it is a composite material, so it has to be done with another other building materials as a palette. I think the previous presentation also, they were trying to say that it looks more uh, uh, you know uh, solid, or what you say, people will accept it more because it looks more, it will be lasting much more time. If it is only bamboo, then it will not look very permanent kind of a thing, and it will not look pakka, it will look like a kacha house. So people have, so that is also the kind of thing that we really need to actually look at, and that is why all this interest and thing, and how we are supposed to actually do this research to connect the dots, how the gap between demand and the supply actually needs to be bridged. And that is the research question I think we should be actually also asking at the same time. And this I think already it was covered probably in the last so I will not go in detail. The other distribution of Indian species that we have, especially which is the species which are used for construction as per the code that we have in India at the moment. And it is very heartening that India was probably the first country to come up with a code. But after that, we have actually gone behind and not able to really keep up with the world. Actually, these are some 14 species and their distribution across the country. And it is almost, across the country, we get one or the other kind of bamboo. And what is happening is, yes, that's another factor when I'm talking about the localizing. When we say, oh, this species is going to work well, and this species, so if we see here, we don't need to transport species across the country, because the people who actually built earlier had a different construction system with the bamboo that was available nearby to them. And I think we should actually work on improving upon them, and that is what I think would give us much better solution, and much economical solution, and much more even environment friendly solutions, when we're talking about this. So this is all, these are some of the globally used species. I've not gone into too much detail, but these are the major ones that we actually see, which is China and Taiwan and Southeast Asia, and South America, Brazil. You have this Guadua guastifolia, which is actually used a lot. And these are the, okay, these are some of the applications that we have, and different applications. It's like there's a lot of scope for bamboo in the construction industry. And I think almost all scopes. I would also take energy for the buildings, energy for this one. I think I can take all those things also, which actually come under the purview of the building sector, which actually purview of the research can actually take in, all across. So you have framing, you have walls, roof, floor, seating, all this, and different kinds of bamboo which actually can do this work. Scaffolding also is one big thing. I think in Hong Kong, it is almost like we have bylaws actually for scaffolding. And in India, we have such good bamboo, but we don't have really proper bylaws for scaffolding, so that we can actually reduce the use of steel out there. These are some of the, is already the properties that, this is one property which also which actually us in the building sector also tells that when you compare between wood and bamboo, the bamboo is almost like a ready material. You don't need to have to use, only cut it and you can actually use. Whereas wood, you really the hard part is inside. So we really need to have a more stable, structural member out of wood. You need much more processing than you actually need in wood. So that also, and of course, bamboo grows much faster. There's a smaller life cycle of the culm, not the tree, not the whole clump, but the culm. So that also actually comes in favor of bamboo. And I think this you people know better than me that if any natural material can replace steel, it is bamboo. Of course, a lot of research needs to be done, but also a lot of research has been done already, and people have been trying to use this. And these are some recent photographs, but I know people, in fact, from Bihar and many other places also, where bamboo has been used for almost 60, 70 years. It has been used in as reinforcement in the slabs. And 50, 60 years, I think, is a good enough kind of a lifespan, because as we are aware that probably concrete, depending on the kind of application and the kind of concrete that we use, it's between 40 to 70 years is, I think, is a, if I'm not wrong, that is the kind of lifespan we have. So if with a bamboo reinforcement we can get a life of about 50 to 60 years, I think it's a good enough kind of a good proposition to use it quite widely. And these are some of the multi-storied buildings which are done by DD Contractor in Himachal Pradesh. And this is almost like 200 years old building in Bangalore with a limestone slab on it. And this bamboo have not been changed in all these years. As you can see, it's quite difficult also to change. And this house is actually in a working condition. We have a lot of film shootings which actually happen here. I'll quickly run through different kinds of works which is happening across the world, and in all different kind of structural systems. Depending on, I would rather emphasize, because we are the platform that we are speaking on. We are looking at the engineering aspect of bamboo as to how to really, diversify and have bamboo perform, buildings for different applications, not just for some applications or niche market, because that is not going to solve the problem that, as we are talking about, bamboo, a grass can save the world. You would have heard about the TED talk. The grass can save the world only when we use it appropriately, and not use. I'm really sorry to be speaking in this manner, but there is this kind of a Bali syndrome. I'm really quite allergic to it, actually. There is something about using it for fashion, using it for those kind of things, and that gives people a different kind of. It's very nice to do them one building, something like that. But I don't know how many people, and I have spoken to several people, and I'm trying to put this in front of everybody. This is an excellent building, the art which has been recently completed in Bali, in the Green School. But I don't know how many people actually know the cost of that building. This is something between 20,000 to 25,000 rupees a square feet. And I would really like to ask this question, whether it is really justified if we are trying to promote it. Because in the media, you don't see the small ones, like what CBRI Roorkee scientist Akash was trying to show. These things don't go in the media because they don't find it very, appealing or something like that. But I don't know how to really go about that, but I think that really needs to be, you have to call a spade a spade. Yes, you do that kind of building, but you don't say when you're doing that building that this kind of buildings will save the world. They definitely will not. So we really need to also understand as to how to really use bamboo for the buildings. And I think there's a much more responsible use of bamboo in the building by some architects that are there. Simon Velej, we have Wo Trong in Vietnam. We have in the previous one I showed this one. This is by this Bamboo Living, David Sands. They have been doing prefabricated building for almost more than 20, 25, 30 years, and very good practical buildings they have been building across. And then, of course, this is our Bangalore International Airport Terminal 2. These both are and these people actually, SOM New York, they are the people who are the architects of the project. And 2017, they had actually come to us, and they had almost 2-3 months. We exchanged. They wanted information because they had to convince the client, and they didn't tell me it was for an airport. They told me it's a transportation hub that they are trying to do, and for that they need information. So the World Bamboo Organization, CEO
Madam,
Suzanne, she had directed me.
kindly make
Yeah.
your screen full screen mode.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Now
at
it's
that
okay.
time when, yeah, okay. So, uh, so, and then once we were done with all the thing, and they got all the data. After that, we never heard from them for a long time. And the next thing I met them in Beijing for the BARC conference in 2018 June. And then they said that they were the Daso company. They said that they are doing a project in Bangalore. I said, okay, which one? Then they said the airport is being done by us. And then I asked them who is the architect. They said SOM. So these people had never got back to me. After we have you take the knowledge, you do these things, and after that you never get back to us. And what has happened? All these things have been outsourced to outside the country. So inside the country, none of the structural engineers or the architects or the suppliers of bamboo actually got benefited by this huge construction thing that is happening, in our country. And the left side, if you see, that is Richard Rogers. He has done this airport in Madrid, where this was used. And the second airport in the world now is using bamboo to. There's a disturbance. Yeah. And but we from India, all the structural engineers, all the organizations, all the institutions don't get to participate in it, and that's really not very fair. And these are some of the other applications which we see in bamboo here. And I think this bamboo roofing sheet, I would say, is one of the best examples of how good we are at doing research, and we can take out products which are, this is a really very good product. But we don't have, other than one company which is also very with lot of difficulty. Just a moment, huh? Tell them to stop. uh, uh, they are very with lot of difficulty, and they are not even able to supply. I have not got a supply of these roofing sheets, which I was trying to promote for several years, in the last almost 10 years. So that, I think, is a difficult thing to go forward. And these are some interior products which we use. Also the bridge. We know the bamboo can be used for the bridge, and we really need to uh, take this to the fullest to see that this is applied properly to the small bridges and all that. I'm not talking about long, 1 kilometer bridges on steel and all that, which vehicular one to be done in bamboo. But where bamboo needs to be used, it can be used. It should be used, and I think it can take a lot of application in. And there are some things again in this bridge also that you need to cover the bridge. Actually, you can't have an open bridge. When you have to have a permanent bridges. So I will come to that much later. These are some of the bridges. The right one is from China. The left one top is by us, and the top bottom one is by Yogstam. I think, and uh, our another architect, Simon Velez, and this is in South America. And I think really need to use that. With this, I'll come to some of our works, which we have been trying to do for all these years. And what I feel is, as I said earlier also, I like to build with bamboo for people, and that has been my aim so far. So, and I thought that's okay. If you say 1/3, of the 1/5 of the world lives in bamboo houses, and if we are able to infuse some kind of a technological input, scientific inputs to make that life better. Can you imagine 1/5 of the world population's housing, if it becomes better, if they are working with bamboo? What kind of a problem we would have solved? This might be a very ballpark kind of a figure, but between 1/3 of mud housing and 1/5 of bamboo housing, I think it's a good approximation. And if we can actually really get inroads, make inroads through our technology, through our persuasion, to use for people to use bamboo, for their building. And as the previous, presenter was speaking, I also really feel that all bamboo buildings are not the solution actually to take building forward for people, because it's difficult for them to maintain. There are lots of problems in that. So only in areas where, as I said, all bamboo buildings were being done traditionally and it suits the climate, we should be doing that. And other than that, we should be actually going for more, I wouldn't say non-fashionable, but aesthetically simple buildings to be built for people for daily usage, for various purposes. And that's what has been my aim in trying to mainstream bamboo through my practice in all these years. And I will just take, and this was something when we started in 1999. Now I'll tell you one more thing is that as a research organizations, it is possible to get and do things in the lab and in the this thing. But as an architect, when somebody entrusts you and they say, okay, I have to pay you fees, and it's very difficult to convince people. It was very, very difficult to convince people that, okay, do your building or do your housing or do your something with bamboo. And that was something which, and so we didn't have any data also so much at that time. I mean to say, usable data or data which will convince people that bamboo buildings actually work. And that was one huge challenge with which actually I started working with bamboo. And since I was already in the sustainability sector, it was not very difficult, but to convince, because they thought. But I started introducing bamboo in small portions, so that people start getting used to it, and then actually come to the main thing. So that was how things actually started. So taking up small projects, and that is how we started. As you can see, this house actually, this is a for the forest department, and this is a Ashriya housing scheme that was there at that time. For 250 square feet house in a village. So this is also, as you can see, this is quite aesthetic, and this is we tried to do it, and this is like a pakka house. So it's very easy for people to actually get convinced, especially people who have been living in the forest and other areas and smaller houses. This is very easy for us to convince them. My period, I will take it into just five years period. I mean, we started this journey with the Raj Bhavan. I think I've already showed these earlier, so I will not waste much time on it. But this was a beginning for me of learning bamboo, and we were there on the site for 24 days, literally experimenting with, and really excited. We had a structural engineer with his masters in structure, from IIT, and we had a lot of good time in all kinds of different kind of systems with bamboo construction. And this was like a lab we really worked, and we were given quite a free hand to work on it. And this actually went on to do the second one, and this house is still there and in the Ipiti, and they're using it as a club, and anyone can visit it. Here we did one more, and every step that I tried to move forward was trying to have a new structural system in place. Of course, I was looking at the aesthetics, I was looking at the architectural part, because that's what would get the acceptability to the house. At the same time, I am also trying to evolve the structural systems that Ipruti Plywood Institute, which is my alma mater, I would say, for working with bamboo. And we had Arun Kumar Bansalji, he was the director. He's retired now. And I have a lot of respect and a lot of gratitude for him to introduce me to this. So this was something which here I have a pyramidical roof with the two bamboo with a flange. What do you say? A distance between the two. That's how I use. And there was no in between support is what I did. I just knocked the support down, and I used instead of single bamboo, I used double bamboo. It's more like a bamboo truss, you can say, the beam that was there, and that's how we did it. And it was tested by Dr. Jagdish out there, and we did this, and this is still standing and quite well with a traditional construction system of Karnataka houses, which is of a clear story in each house. So it was like combining the traditional architecture and the traditional material, and again still evolving the structural system at the same time. And that is how most of my projects I kept on raising the bar for myself. And this was a prefab house we did in 2004, which was done in Bangalore, and then it was shipped to Italy. And we did not go there because the project cost was so small that the client could not afford to pay for our ticket and our stay out there. But we make it this literally like an IKEA house, and this we did at that time, and the client was very happy. We still visit him and we still keep in touch, and this has been working very well, out there. This is complete what you see as the glass house. I think in Italy this was the second bamboo building probably in the whole of Italy, and a lot of programs for bamboo has been actually, and otherwise also has been conducted out there. Mr. Lunadi has been very kind to invite us several times, and I have been there. Then it's also we try to use it as we know that bamboo grows more in disaster-prone areas, and more disasters happen, in tropical and subtropical part of the world where bamboo is actually known to people. So this was one solution we had given to Seeds India for this tsunami which happened, the Great Tsunami they call it in 2004 December 26. And this was the high point again was that we did not want to build it for people. We actually wanted to teach them how to build so that there's a livelihood option that is created for them and to take it forward. And this was done by them, except for that we went at least 2 to 3 times only, and we had an engineer from Seeds India. Seeds India is an organization which is still now it is working on disaster management and resilience shelters across India and the subcontinent in several countries actually. Have been in touch to take it forward to make a disaster management squad where we actually want to develop a disaster management kit, kind of a kit which can be ready, and as and when there's a kind of a disaster, we can actually deploy them, on the site very quickly and try to make and that same structure could be actually converted into a permanent structure later, slowly, so that we don't have to do double 2 times. The job is not to be done 2 times. So this is another work that we are involved in at this moment through our organization CGBMT to develop a disaster management squad and a kit, which I'm happy to open to collaborations from people to do such jobs. And this is another where again we tested a lot of every project we tested and took it one raising a bar every time. We started doing bridges out there. This is a 20 feet bridge that we did, 6 meters. And this again, this house also, we tried to have a clear story, and there's no column in between, as I will show you the photographs next to again. But we loaded it with a solar BIPV solar panel of 2 kilowatt. If you can see here in the center, you have this courtyard and there is no support in the center. So it's like a pyramid. All supports are from the side. And that is how we try to do it. And we try to stiffen it with these walls that come from the rooms, the way we actually try to plan it around. And these are different systems that were outside in the landscape, because we're also looking at use of bamboo in the landscape, street furniture, and all this, because there's a lot of scope even for that, because we don't need to really have steel in this kind of application. So we try to incorporate. And this was, if you see the bottom right, it was my first experiment with bamboo reinforced. I wouldn't say bamboo reinforced concrete, but yeah, bamboo fiber concrete. That was my first experiment, which I did in 2005. Unfortunately, I think after 10 years, it did not work well, and they have taken all these structures out for some, according to them, some more permanent structure and more structures. This is around that time where the World Bamboo Congress was held in Delhi in 2004, and Delhi Development Authority actually invited us to do this project where we did a bridge. It is still there. It's slightly tilted and slightly this thing, but still 80% of the bamboo still remains proper. And they have invited us. They just invited us before the COVID happened, and we had an inspection after that COVID happened, so we could not take it up. And we are hoping that we will be able to either repair the bridge or do the bridge. So it's almost, you can see, about 15 years now, and they hardly had any much maintenance that they have done. The one point I want to make here in this photograph is that you have to cover the bamboo bridge. Bamboo needs a boot, so that because it's hygroscopic. It also needs a hat, so that it is covered from the elements, and that will really enhance the durability of bamboo and almost manyfold. And so we don't need to be really very try to say, even steel, if you don't cover it, it cannot actually cover it with your paint and other things and all that. It cannot really, because bamboo steel also, if you leave it outside, in 7 months it will start corroding. So you don't need to be really kind of I'm really brave and I want to expose my bamboo completely. It will not work. You'll have yearly maintenance and all those kind of, there are lots of problems that comes with bamboo, and that should not be encouraged again in the name of fashion, in the name of show. These are some more structures that we did there, and each one of them again was a new thing for us. And this is a public toilet block that is still there, and it is very much in use. Here in the gazebo, we started doing this column. Instead of bunching the column, we started trussing the column. And this was again a new thing that I started with a small, of course, a small thing here, and it's still there, except for the roof tiles have slightly got battered, but the bamboo of the of the columns are still intact and proper. This was something without any nail. We have done the roof actually, and there was a different kind of a even system of treatment that we did. We actually boiled these tiles in creosote oil to make it completely weatherproof. And they are in quite even now, I mean, they are of course battered, but they are in quite a good condition considering the non-maintenance of 15 years. It is quite good. Around that time, I started also working on shells, which I'm really fascinated, because bamboo being a very light material, it really can be used because of the weaving. When we weave a bamboo, if you have a basket or something like, if you see, it can really take a lot of load once you have woven it into a particular form. And with that principle in mind, I started putting it into my buildings, starting from small scale. But this was a competition, so, and we were runners up. Even after we could not even get to the jury, we could not attend the jury. We still got the second prize in this one, but this project got this thing later. But I would really like to take this project forward. If any client is there who would be willing to take this up. This was almost 30,000 square feet that I actually, very brave of me at that time, because not many people across the world even was trying to think of bamboo in the shell way. But I think this is possible, and that is how I have this whole project. If you see, we have even bigger conference halls were there in that, and community halls, which I have done much bigger ones with a green roof design, this one, and this is very much workable. And we would like to work on with research organizations and people to really take these kind of designs forward. This is a Palampur, very close to your CBRI Roorkee, and done in 2006, and still going very well. These are the interiors. This is a combination of round bamboo and also processed bamboo, which is like bamboo sheets, BMB boards. And I think it works very well. So in that manner, this is a museum and very much in use at the moment. In 2008, I started my own house, where I started thinking about combining bamboo with mud instead of cement. When I was doing the cement plastering to bamboo-crete walls in my projects, I started thinking about mudcrete to be done with the bamboo walls. So this was one project, since this was my house. So even in mud, I did a lot of experiments, almost like 30-40 experiments I have done in this, testing, doing, and working with different scientists and engineers to really work this over. And the high point of this was the roof that we have done, that 4,000 square feet roof that you see there, 175 feet long curved beam with three round bamboos that we have put there, and a very steep slope. If you see the slope here, so we had to actually employ different kind of viscosity of the concrete that we are using, and we had several meetings with RMC company, which they really cooperated very well, and we had a very good time doing this project with them. And all this is mud. So mud and bamboo, these are two materials. When you actually tell people that, okay, I will make your house with mud and bamboo, they would immediately think about a shack. I wanted to really change that, particular, what do you say, the thinking of people that, mud and bamboo needs to be got into a shack. So this is the house that I have done, and it's almost 5,000 square feet footprint of it, and total, including the basement, from where I took the mud out and stabilized mud blocks with bamboo. And even the bamboo-crete walls has got stabilized mud plaster instead of cement plaster in this case. And that's what we used. Here are the different photographs of the house. Even for smaller things like even pergola and other things, actually I have used this particular material, bamboo. Even the at the top of the staircase, which you see the roof up there, is also with bamboo-crete actually. And small things, small bridges, you can see here in the photograph on the right. There's a very flimsy bridge that you can see out there. A very slender column to take that load of that curved roof that I talked about. And you can see a very slender beam as well, and a very simple system of taking all the load of the structure down. And if you see the edge of the roof, which is there on the wall, so it is not on the wall. We have one bamboo which runs actually, and the whole roof actually sits on that, and not on the 9-inch mud block wall. So this whole thing is taken by these slender columns, which are almost 18 feet tall. These are bamboo, flooring. So different kinds of systems used. And here you see that column out there as a asymmetric loading, 20 feet tall column, and it actually transfers the whole load to one single bamboo, which is taking it down to the earth. And that is something which is I am also surprised as to how it is doing it, and I would be really happy to see these things tested by research organizations to really have take this thing kind of forward. On the left side, what you see is that behind the bed are their walls. The walls in this room are almost 90% are bamboo mudcrete walls, and that wall actually we had not a testing but a problem, and it's my son's room who accidentally it caught fire. We didn't even get a hair crack in that wall actually, and the fire was there for quite some time, and because somebody spotted the smoke outside, and then they said there's smoke coming out of the room, and then we got, so the wall was exposed to quite a at least about 15-20 minutes or 30 minutes of that thing, but we didn't even get a single crack in the wall. So these are our on-site, I can say, and in application kind of a testing that we have been going through. There are some other thing, and then we did our office, which is again a shell roof, as you can see here, free-form roof, which we did here, almost 2,500 square feet of shell roof, and this is something we have used the structural system. Pawan, can you tell him to stop the? This is of the what you have in the structural system in a fishing platform, where you have this very slender single bamboos. We take lot of load of so much of fish which has to be taken out from the from the sea and other things. And here it is almost like a 5-inch slab, which you can see, and you have only one single bamboo, which you see on the right side and the bottom. There's only one bamboo which is a curved beam and which has got joints, and it is resting on these very slender legs kind of a columns, and that's all the structure that it has. If you see the inside, this is the way it is, and it's got quite large spans of spaces. I have almost 15 feet clear spans, which generally you would get from a 9-inch column or something like that, as you can see here. And this is the way the roof was done. This has got bamboo split as a reinforcement inside. And also, I also use bamboo fiber in the concrete itself to make it much lighter one, and also to use it in a way that there'll be less of cracks actually. So the bonding between and this has a concrete. This is not mudcrete. This is a proper concrete which we have done. Supposed to be around 2.5 inches, but somehow with plastering it has gone to almost 4.5 inches almost. But all these things now, it's almost like 10 years for us, 10 to 11 years, and it's been working fine. Further, I moved to even bigger, more bold with all my work that I had been doing so far, and on the site work that I could work. I really got very bold, and I proposed this to BMRCL. Has invited me to put for a metro station, not the metro whole thing, but the metro station on the top structure. And this was this is completely on woven bamboo composite that I have done, and the whole structure is by the virtue of its shape and the way it is connected to each other. That's how it was. And it also, of course, the tensile members that you see on the top, not members, I would see kind of strings, braided steel wires that I would say that we try to use for this. There are other two options that we have given, but this is still government was for a long time I followed it, and I'm hoping that after this Bangalore airport is done, maybe one of these can at least come live, if not in Bangalore, anywhere in the country, and we could do a good job, with this. And of course, I would like to work with some research organizations on the structural part of it, to take it forward. There are some other projects that we have actually incorporated bamboo in a very different manner. Again, this is in lime concrete, and because this is in Hungary, and there you have limestone in lot of buildings. Traditional buildings were done in limestone a lot, so I try to incorporate that with bamboo in there. Always trying to be local, and these are very they use bamboo for musical instruments in various ways, and so there are a lot of musical walls that we created. So it's not it's like your structure, and it's also a element of something which actually also takes the load. It's a structural and cultural, and you can say architectural, and aesthetical aspect, all coming together in one in and but still doing it in a very responsible manner to give proper support, to give proper fire this thing, give proper cover, and also of course also on a boot to bamboo the way it should actually be used. Not trying to really being very brave, with things, that way. And this was a temporary bamboo bridge that was asked, but it was never somehow, done because of this was around 80 feet long bridge for 13 lakhs. And I was told that if still it was there, still it would have been fine. But if for bamboo, we can't really spend this kind of money. So it did not actually take place. Further, we have tried to now move on to projects where it gets bamboo gets part of a overall project like a housing scheme. So here we have a housing which is almost now 60-70% complete. All these some villas are complete, and this apartment is almost complete to be handed over in another month. And then once it is complete, I'll be sharing more pictures later. But I think still the bamboo elements are still to come. They're not visible, so I have not put the pictures here. This community center which you see on the right side, is made of rammed earth and bamboo construction, and we are hoping to start that also soon. There's another project we got through, again a large project, and this is in Tirupati, Avilala, ecological park, and this was through tender that we got it. And the conference, it was the interpretation center. What you see is a 30,000 square feet structure, a composite structure with because we were not allowed to use cement, concrete, and steel here in this one because of the nature of the project. And so we were invited to design for it. As you can see here also, we have used this tensile braided steel this thing to hold all these leaves together of a shell structure. And all these shells actually, there's very ambitious again work for us. 30,000 square feet means if it would be built, and still very slow because the project started and then we were hit by first the elections and then the COVID for last 2 years, and it's going extremely slow. And Chandrababu Naidu not being there, and I think it has gone into some kind of a slow thing right now. We are hoping that it will. This also had 150 feet tall tower, watchtower, and also a skywalk which was around 1.7 kilometers. So these two, one, if it would have been built, it would have been the highest and the longest in the world if we were able to do it. If it is constructed. We also participated in an international competition, and this is actually live project in Bangalore for the slum development, because slums people are giving them, for slum development. What the authorities are giving almost like pigeonhole, 250, 300 square feet pigeonhole kind of apartments on 13th floor, 14th floor, which people don't find it very, the way they live is very different. So what you give them, it is never very comfortable. So they really feel very uncomfortable about this. So this was one solution that we tried to give, that you have a inside core with concrete and steel and with a lift and the staircase and all that. And then the other parts, which is like the external floor beams and things like that, which actually can be done with materials which these people are more familiar with in back down in their villages or in the urban areas or other places. And this can be with a small unit, just like we do the Ashraya house. We give the basic house, and then the people actually build on it as the family actually grows as per their financial things. Because today he might be able to afford only 250 square feet, but as he grows, he may be able to afford more, and he can do extend his house and all that. So giving that kind of a incremental housing thing in a slum development program was the idea here. And also with this, we have tried to give a bamboo skin, which is like a mesh, where and this would actually have all these, and these actually can be replaced. These are, and but this is also for a safety measure. That is one, that it will have complete safety of the building from all sides, and inside that all these development can actually happen. But these net was also supposed to have areas where you grow, like in villages you put a bamboo pergola and you grow your vegetables. There could be just one or two plants of gourd or something like that, which actually runs through the whole season for vegetable for them. And that was something which we wanted to do. We also have incorporated in this the net system to harvest water, from the atmosphere, and that can be used for various purposes by these people. So these are very, and also, here I have not given the detail. Also, small, this wind generators, wind energy generators attached to these units on the outside. So they actually attract the wind and for smaller, because what we are doing, like Solar Mamas, they are doing for the Barefoot College, 60 watt is the amount of electricity. With that, they are able to do most of their basic things. So if this is wind energy also, so it's like a whole totality. Bamboo, not just alone, like sticking out like a bamboo and just trying to, carve hose, say no, I am bamboo, I am a bamboo building. Instead of that, trying to incorporate into different kind of systems. This was another big project that we actually, tried to, we got through a tender, and it is again also going very slow after the elections. But this is also a very ambitious project for us. It's a 20,000 square feet bamboo mudcrete shell roof on rammed earth construction, and various other such structures that we have tried to do. This was as per the craft systems or the Shilparamam. This is a Shilparamam project. So it's not that you put all the handicrafts itself. The craft of making buildings, which people think that craft is separate from engineering. We actually have to incorporate the two or bring them together. And that's what we have tried to do in this particular project. And this is the convention center for the thing with the Bamboo Crete. And this is a 5-star resort in the same campus. These are all part of that one project that we did. We were invited as one of the 5 people from across the world to make a pavilion at the World Bamboo Workshop. Our Mansaram architects were invited, and what we did was again a shell structure that we had been doing, but since we had only 7 days time, we did a small. Here also we have a 9-meter span, if you see there, and of the longer one, and the shorter one is around 6 meters span. And this was the space to sit, and we were supposed to do a permanent structure in about 8 days time, 7 to 8 days time. And so for the roofing, I've always been thinking of how to do a roofing for a curved roof. And curved roof always have these challenges. Either you have this cement concrete kind of a thing, the shell. So this was here. I started working with concrete cloth, what we call, and making this in a local manner. So we have taken jute as a base material, and then we did the we dipped it in a slurry, cement slurry, and we put it over the structure, and we have put it lime wash has been done for that. And this is my team. We have Gurdial, who has been with me for almost next to me on the right side, who has been with me since 1999 in doing all my works. And we have on the extreme left, Anandilal and Gopal, who are the pillars, I would say, again, of CGBMT, where we have been doing a lot of experiments with bamboo. They have been with us from 2007 onwards, almost 14 years now, and working with all the training programs and materials and everything. And so this was getting into similar kind of projects. It was a retrofit project where we were supposed to do a millet center, millet being associated with a rural thing and all that. If you see the kind of structure that it was, and we were told to pull down the whole structure and then rebuild the whole thing and design it. And we got a structural evaluation done by a certified person, and we found that it is quite strongest. The structure is quite strong. So we retrofitted it, and we have this very large bamboo facade that we are doing here in this one. And this project is already gone through and also got its funding also from the central government. We are hoping to start the project very soon. And this is the kind of retrofitting several kind of things that we were trying to do in this. This is a project which we just finished in the nick of time, just before the COVID in 2020 March. And this is for a soft skill training institute and run by ex-army people. And these are different halls where we have used mud and mudcrete and bamboo. And they wanted it in a very Bali style. Then we told them that that is something which is very unreachable for the budget that you have. And again, here also, if you see, we have this cloth roof that we try to do, though we have not been very successful in it. It gets weathered after a period of time, so we're still under experimenting it. And our clients are not happy with the cloth at the moment, because in the 2 years of COVID, they did not attend to any kind of maintenance, and it has gone little, it's torn at some places because of the wind that has happened. So we really need to work on it further. And we have also had a circular hall that we did, which is almost about 40 feet dia circular hall, free span. And this is the structure that we did. It's more like a spiral that we have done. In all this thing, we have been doing a pedagogical journey. We're trying to tell people, because I understood that unless until we have skilling, and that not just skilling, I'm talking about the people on the site, but also skilling right up to the designers and the architects and the policymakers. And that's what we have been trying to do since 2003. And the Alvag University, we have been associated with since that time. So the first one that you see was a proof of the concept structure that we did, and still it is being used by them actively. In 2006 we had done. And the bottom one is actually the right side, the Amritsar guest house, which we did in 19 days flat, with everything intact. And on the left side, we have the faculty block for agriculture and bamboo, with a workshop that we 16,000 square feet construction, which is actually lying with the UGC for funding, and we are hoping that we will start the project very soon. This is the finish in 19 days time. This is the level of work one can do if you really are properly organized, and if you have all the resources at hand, which DEI provided to us. And you can see absolutely finished. There is no compromise in any kind of a thing that we had to do. This was a mud flooring done by the ladies of the community. Even the plastering was done by the ladies here of Amritsar. Excellent kind of work. It was amazing to see them work actually. University has also had asked us to do a creche, which was to be done in a like a what do we call it, like the faculty, the work department, Mansaram Architects, ours, and the NGO together to train the whole thing. And we have done this in a collaborative mode. And this was the thing. And again, we have used local bamboo. Local bamboo in Agra, it is not available in long lengths. So we had to break this, the five, what you see, the pentagon. We had to break the roof into a spiral. And these spirals you see also, they are not regular. It's like a spiral again, more like a, it's like fixed kind of a thing that happens there. And here you can see when we incorporate the community ladies for doing a plastering of the things and all that. So this was a project we finished for them. And this is a project which is right now running, the two conference halls for bamboo for the Dalbagh University. And on the right, what you see, this is a hall that we are doing right now. And recently in November, we have tested this arch that we were trying to. We always test our structural systems before we actually employ that in the building, because of the safety and all the issues that we really want to be completely sure of. And this one, your overall span of the roof is 83 feet across and 110 feet long. On the ground, it is around 74 feet by 105 feet, from clear span support if you see inside the hall. So that's the thing. If you can see the testing that we tried to do with that's our engineer, engineer Pawan Kumar, with Gurdial and myself and all these people we have, which we were actually here, and then Pawan Kumar and Gurdial and all the DI people and our Gopal and all that, they have done the testing out there. And we are trying to put these slabs one by one over the other and trying to test. And after that, whatever was the problem that we are trying to solve it out. This is hall 2. We actually have tried to finish it up now. This is almost finished. This is another second conference hall, almost in finishing stage. Actually, flooring is also over. Now the glass is being put, and we are just taking it out now. It's getting over. Maybe by January end, we will be able to hand over to the university. These are two projects. My last two projects I'm just sharing. what can go wrong when the client or the other people don't understand what you actually mean when we are trying to do the structure. And that also needs to be execution on the site, can also be a very tricky affair. You might design the best building, you might have done all the experiments and things like that, but if the people in the execution don't take it seriously, and use bamboo as a temporary material, and or treat bamboo as a temporary material, things can go really wrong. This was one design build workshop we did in Trichy, with Care College Trichy and RS School of Architecture Denmark. And we were there for 4 days to design build, and so we were doing it. As you can see, the left side bottom, we are trying to work out what will actually work. That was in practicality typology. We were trying to develop. Also doing on Grasshopper and Rhino, trying to model it up in the computer, and then with that we also doing a physical model. All simultaneously we did, and we came to a structure. But after that, I came back because I couldn't be there. It was almost like, I think, a 40 days workshop in total to complete the project. And the students were here from Denmark and all other places. What they did was they reduced the number of supports that we had given, and also the number of bunching, the beam that we have given at the bottom. They made it half from what we had given to them. Ultimately, we were not aware that, and we were told only last year, that the structure doesn't exist anymore. And why is that? Because structure started sagging because it didn't have enough support on the ground. It was not grounded properly to the foundation. So this was something which is like, and this was done by the professors from the college, RS School of Architecture Denmark, because it was their project and they were doing the funding, and they did it like that. So the structure is not there anymore. And this was shortlisted actually for Fibra Awards in 2019. And I went to Paris and we developed everything. And then we were looking for the photograph of its usage. And that's when I came to know that it is not there. So these things can go wrong. This is the last project which I am showing. This is another one which we have done in Maihar, and it was like 7 shells all put together. And we did it whole thing, and everything went very well. It was almost like a 45 days to 60 days workshop, completely in that kind of a mode, incorporating the local art and everything, things that we tried to do. We even came to the whole thing. It's finished. We even removed the scaffolding, and there was some problem. If you can see here, there's a blaring problem of design being done where actually the building load is going to the foundation. I told the site people, the supervisor that they had, that needs to be completely covered because that takes the load. The design should be only where the shell actually goes up, and wherever it goes down and goes to the foundation, it should be completely covered and should be completely plastered. They didn't do it. They didn't take it very seriously. They didn't do it, and the structure sat 1 month after the scaffolding was taken out, because the client never took it so seriously enough to have the supervisor he was a person who was generally supervising this. This is also actually a sculpture museum which is there in Maihar. It was such a nice structure, but it had to be dismantled last year because the client did not really take it very seriously. And this is something which we really need to ensure. At the end, I just wanted to quickly share this JVT School of Simple Living. We have started in 2020, and we are trying to develop a kind of pedagogy for architecture with bamboo. And we also are involving engineering colleges in this and different kind of organizations. And we are in talk with several engineering colleges, because we really want engineering colleges to be involved in all these experiments that we do. And we are in advanced stage of that. We also have approached the ACCE, Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, and the president, Dr. Ashwath, is also very keen. And we called a meeting of approximately around 50 people, 50 heads of civil engineering colleges with whom really we wanted to work. These are some of the earlier things, and this is the survey that I talked about, which we did in 2018. We presented at the Congress the results. And this was the global survey identifying the different issues. And this was like a breakup of all the country of graduation, country of practice. This was a summary of the survey. Most of the architects and designers, they want to use bamboo, but find themselves handicapped due to several issues like academics, availability, and execution. And very few professionals even now cited eco-friendly properties of bamboo because they probably are not aware. Most of the inquired thought that bamboo could be bought at the current price if quality is assured. So they want to do that. They prefer to get the off-the-shelf bamboo products and components for ready usage. So that can also go for treated bamboo and graded bamboo. And they don't think even now that bamboo can be used for large multi-story buildings and complex structures and skyscrapers and infrastructure projects. They still think it can be only used for resorts and temporary kind of cottages and things like that, which really needs to change. And no architect talked about bamboo as replacement of steel, so a lot of work needs to be done in that. Actually, for actually on-site, like applications, other than taking all the things that we have done in the lab to the ground, actually. And the support of government policy was mentioned by many for building bylaws, FAR, etc. Schedule of rates and building codes had been mentioned specifically by a handful, because probably they never thought that bamboo has a code. Many people actually don't know. These are like a lot of actions. I think already it has been spoken before. But government policies, advocacy, academics, research and development, skill development, marketing, industry development, and housing infrastructure. I think these are main actions that needs to be taken in several areas, which we are trying to actually work with several organizations. And this is a conclusion. I think this is the building I was talking about in Mayhar. After we had taken the thing, this is how it looked. We have these people from China who actually saw this building, and they were really impressed. And after that, this building sat. Thank you so much.